Welcome back. Now today on eNCA we place the spotlight on failed municipalities. And listen to this, 6 of the country's 8 major metropolitan municipalities are financially unstable, needing government intervention, with the Free State and Northwest municipalities being in the worst state. Now, will we ever see any accountability for this? Let's discuss this now with Dr. Harlan Cloete, public administration expert from the University of the Free State. Doc, good to have you and good morning to you. And I think once you go through the report, that's the question you have. Will, of course, these municipalities or municipal managers be held accountable? And what does the accountability even look like? Good morning, Doc.
Good morning, and good morning to all the viewers as well. Yes, you know, the latest AG report paints a glooming picture of the state of local government, you know, but the AG's office, you know, has got increased power since 2019 to go for those municipalities and to go to those those officials that are failing municipalities and failing communities.
And what does that power look like, Doc, in terms of what they can do and how municipalities can, of course, ensure that they pay back whatever money that's been irregularly spent, or they do account for the irregular expenditure and not repeat these offences again?
You know, the AG calls it material irregularities, and municipal officials can in fact be personally held liable, as well as councillors held liable for wrong decisions, you know, and money can be recuperated. And so the institutional framework is there for municipalities, for the taxpayer to get some sort of relief, for the AG to go for municipalities and for those officials that are not doing what they are supposed to be doing.
Yeah. I mean, I think at this point we as a country are so desensitized to service delivery protests. They occur every other week, if not every day. And this as far as what media can even cover, Dr. Cloete. So are they here to stay? If we're seeing the AG say 6 out of 8 municipalities, at least where the metropolitan municipalities are stationed, are dysfunctional, they're financially unstable, should we be expecting South Africans to constantly be taken to the streets lamenting the very same concerns over and over again?
I think, you know, I once did training in one of the provinces, and one of the participants said, you know, the only time the councillors respond is when they see the smoke. And so I asked them, what is the smoke? They say when they see the protests and the tires burning. And I'm afraid, you know, people have become really disillusioned with the performance of local government. I spoke to a colleague of mine in the King municipality, and her observation is that, you know, every 5 years we've got a new set of looters, and you know, and local government is where people experience the love or hate of the state. And so local government really is such an important sphere of local government, of governance, to restore hope and to bring confidence. And you know, after almost 30 years, South Africans are disillusioned. They are not happy with the state of local government, and protesting seems to be, you know, the order of the day. I expect more protest as we continue. You know, it's tough out there.
Yeah. People
are facing unemployment. There's hunger. There's poverty. There's inequality, and it looks like local government simply is not caring. You know, and so unfortunately, this will be the pattern. We will see more and more protests where people go to the streets to vent their anger at what they perceive as an uncaring, unresponsive local government.
And I think the unfortunate part about that protest, Doc, is that they often say, the protesters that is, that they've been trying to get in touch with local ward councillors or even municipal managers. However, they don't respond, they do not communicate, they don't take them seriously. It seems the only time that they will avail themselves if they're exposed by the media, and they do not want, obviously, to, you know, be seen to not be caring for any service delivery protests. But that's just on, you know, as far as protesters are concerned. I just want to ask you now, in terms of state capture, because I mean we're at the back of receiving the final report from Chief Justice Raymond Zondo. What's the impact of state capture to the dysfunction that we're seeing at, you know, local municipalities? For someone reading a report like a state capture report may think this is so high level, it seems to be only happening at national level, but there should be an impact that's also felt at municipalities.
Indeed, if you just look at the VBS scandal, the bank scandal in the Limpopo province, you know, so it is felt. We haven't, you know, the latest Corruption Watch report that came out towards the end of last year speaks to most corruption takes place in the office of the municipal manager. And so the looting at local government level, have not been sufficiently reported on. But if you look at the AG's report, let me just use one example. We spent 1.2 billion on consultants alone last year, which simply shows that municipalities are not growing their own timber. We're not investing in human resource development at the local level enough. And so 79% of consultants are reappointed simply because of the lack of capacity in the finance department, for example. And so SALGA and the local government SETA, the National School of Government, these state institutions really will have to come together, because it's as big as a national crisis. The capacity problems, the skills problems at local government level is really out of control. And we need decisive action, we need leadership, we need the universities to come together and to form a think tank and to say, how do we turn this around? Because every year in June, it's the same story over and over. But the number one problem, there's known problems. The number one problem is people and behavior. We behave ourselves into this culture of being non-responsive, don't care. We've got Batupile, but Batupile is a foreign word. It's not the lived experience of communities. And so we really need to, this time, say we know what's wrong. Let's have the political will and the administrative will to do something about this.
Yeah, in as far as residents are concerned, that question has also come up to say, what can they do? And oftentimes, experts and analysts have said they need to change their voter behavior. But some residents, Doc, feel we've been complaining about the same things over and over again. We would rather withhold our vote because we're just too sick and tired, as a form of protest to different political parties. What power do you think the ordinary resident community member that is going, or rather living in, a municipality that is dysfunctional, what do you think is the power that they hold that they don't know of?
I think the ballot box is one, but we've got the institutional framework such as the ward committees, and the ward committees in some parts of South Africa, they are working. I once did an interview research in the Overstrand area, for example. Their ward committees, they've institutionalized it, and there's a fantastic official there, Roderick Williams, they've institutionalized ward committees. And so ward committees really become the voice of the people, where people can voice their opinions and these matters are carried into council. The democratic process, however, is tedious, it's long, and so protest is one, marches could be one, but the institutional framework is the ward committee, where the ward councillor is supposed to meet with the ward people, elected people in their area, and they co-govern, because this is our system of democracy. We've got participatory democracy. So a lot of people, and that we've seen last year in the 1 November election, people become so disillusioned that say, then I'd rather don't vote, because I cannot see the value in why I vote. I vote and vote, but I stay poor. I vote and vote, but I am still subjected to all these anomalies in local government. And so we have got more and more, and especially the young people, opting out. And I was telling somebody the other day, we must really, my generation, we need to apologize to young people, because this is not the democracy that we envisaged when we were younger and fighting for a democratic dispensation. This democracy that young people think is normal, looting, stealing, corruption, this is not what my generation fought for and stood for. And so we need to reset. We need to reset and reimagine what local government can be by being more responsive, and we're calling on councillors to lead and not to loot. And at the same time, we're saying the people employed by the state, by local government, but do so ethically, must do the work and not just show up today at work, but actually do the work. Because there are people employed by government, by local government, who arrive this morning at work but don't work. They're simply idling, not working and not being productive.
Well, I appreciate you, of course, giving your input to this conversation, Dr. Harlan Cloete, Free State University's Public Admin and Management Research Fellow. Thank you so much for your time this morning.